Let's look at powers of 10 and see how they're going to affect our ability to multiply and divide with decimals. So powers of 10 is a 10 with an index form. So it's got a power here, in this case 10 to the power of 1, which gives us an answer of 10. 10 to the power of 2 means 10 times 10. So the 2 here refers to the number of 10s that are in the multiplication. So don't confuse it with 2 times 10, okay? That's not powers of 10. Powers of 10 is 10 times 10, so that gives us an answer of 100. 10 to the power of 3 means there's 3 10s here, so 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So 10 to the power of 4 would be 10 multiplied by 10, multiplied by 10, and multiplied by 10. And that would give us an answer of 10,000. And what you'll notice with each of these is that the 4 here will reference to the 4 zeros in the answer, and the 3 here, there are 3 zeros here. The 2 here, there's 2 zeros here, and the 1 there, there's 1 0 there. So there's a connection between all of those. We're now going to look how that plays out with multiplication and then division. Right, let's look here. 36.532 multiplied by 100. So this is multiplied, in fact, by 10 to the power of 2. Okay, and so what we know here is that firstly it's multiplication of a whole number by a whole number here. So we know this number here is going to get larger. And what we can do here is we can move this decimal point 1 place, 2 places, which is the same as it reflects in the power of this. So the answer here will become 3653.2, so 3,653.2. So the decimal points move 2 spots, which is the same number as number of zeros here, and the same number as the power in the power of 10. Right, so now we have 4.31 multiplied by 10,000. So we have 4 zeros here, so it's 10 to the power of 4. And so then we can move this decimal point. Now, what we need to consider here is that there are additional zeros infinitely to this direction. So we can add those in, and yet the size of the number doesn't change. So we want to multiply this by 10,000, so move it 4 decimal places, so it moves 1 place, 2 places, 3 places, 4 places into there, and becomes 43100, which becomes 43,100. There's no need to put a decimal point and a 0 here necessarily, unless the question asked you to place it to 2 decimal places, for example, in which case you'd need to show this. But in most instances, just showing the whole number answer would suffice. My suggestion when you're doing this is literally to do the little skipping motion in between each of the numbers. It's a good way of tracking what you're doing, and also it gives an indication of what you did from a learning perspective. Right, so let's look at division now with powers of 10. So just like before when we did multiplication and the number got larger, in this case the number is going to get smaller. So it's going to become, we're going to move the decimal point in this direction here, 1 spot, there's 1 0 here. So it's going to become 26.815. 7.82 divided by 1,000, so 1,000 is the same as 10 to the power of 3. And we see there's 3 zeros here. So we're going to move this, in fact, 3 zeros. Now, just like before, we're going to skip it 1 place, and then a 2nd place, and then a 3rd place. And each of these will have a 0 placed there. So then this number becomes smaller. So then we end up with the decimal point being placed here. So we have a 0 before that, decimal point, and then we have 00782. So 00782 as our final answer. So you can see how it shifts it quite dramatically. The other thing to consider here is always put this 0 out the front. Never have it just sitting there on its own, because it's too easy for someone to miss the decimal point. And this actually places it quite nicely so that everyone knows where it is, and then you can line it up if you're doing, say, an addition question with other numbers.